Hey, what's up guys? Thanks for clicking on the video. So today I wanted to take a look at perhaps one of the more underrated models from the Swiss manufacturer Oris. And that's with their Oris Big Crown ProPilot. Now I've actually owned an Oris Aquis in the past, and that's probably their most identified model, being a phenomenal dive watch, specifically because they released their new in-house caliber 400 with a 5-day power reserve. And as a whole, I do like that Oris remains an independent Swiss manufacturer of watches to this day, and they do like to try out some different things. Specifically to this model, this ProPilot has the PVD coated case, and it has kind of a novel clasp to their nice factory strap that's provided with this watch. And taken together with the classic Pilot design and dimensions for this watch, I do think it makes quite a compelling everyday wearing watch between the $1,000 to $2,000 price segment. So let's flip the camera around now, and you guys can check out this watch up close in my studio. Alright, so let's take a closer look at the Oris Big Crown ProPilot. And before I go over the specs in too much detail, I would like to mention that you can actually purchase this watch in a few different configurations. As I mentioned, this one is the gray PVD coated case on the textile strap. You can purchase this on stainless steel and with a bracelet. You can also get the complication with a day and date display. This one just shows the date. And it's more symmetrical that way, in my opinion. But I do want to make you of the options that are out there. The MSRP on the Oris website for this guy is 2,100 Canadian dollars, but of course you can pick that up for under 2,000 in the gray market, no problem. So this is a very comfortable wearing watch. As far as dimensions go, you got a 41 millimeter diameter case. If you flip it to the side, the wingspan between my thumbs here, this is about 48.5 millimeters to my calipers. Case thickness is just about 12.5 millimeters, and that's to the bottom of the case back to the top of the slightly domed sapphire crystal. Now, a sapphire crystal does have some AR on the underside, and the lug opening here for the supply strap is a universal 20 millimeters. So overall, great proportions. And this case shape with the arcing lugs does make it hug to your wrist very well, and I'll show you guys a wrist shot a little later in the video. So if we're talking about the dial, it's extremely legible and it has that classic Pilot design. You got Arabic numerals that are printed onto the dial in high contrast white, as well as a high contrasting hour and minute hand. It's kind of an interesting touch that they blacked out the seconds hand, but the very tip of a seconds hand, which extends all the way to the edge of the running minute track there, is done in red. So very small pop of color, and then very nice step down and cut out date aperture at the 3 o'clock position. And I like that they went with a black date disc and white printing to match the white printing on the Arabic hour markers. So again, when you have very bold white printing on a black backdrop, very good legibility for this watch overall. They've even applied BGW9 Swiss Superluminova to the printed Arabic markers and the hand stack. The overall luminescence is average. It does last a lot longer and is more potent on the handset there. And I'm not sure how well it shows up on camera, but you get that nice blue BGW9 glow. Now, as far as overall finishes go, I mean, you do get pretty much a completely satin finish on the case itself, but some of the nice features and finishing aspects for this watch is this nice engine turn, or what I think they call a turbined fixed bezel, and that helps break up the mid case with the top of the fixed bezel there, and it's a very nice designed feature. And also, being a big crown, you get a very nice, about a 7 millimeter sized crown, with similar engine turning or knurling on it. So because it's free of crown guards and it's very big and easy to grip, operating the watch to manually wind it and set the time is very easy to do. Inside this guy is an Oris caliber 751, which is really a base Sellita SW220-1. And I'll flip the watch over in a second so you can see the see-through case back. But what that does is gives you a 4 hertz movement. You can manually wind it in the unscrewed position. Popping it out to the first position here will let you quickly cycle through the date. And then if I pop it all the way out here, you have stop seconds and you can set to whatever reference time you would like. Now there's absolutely no wobble to this crown, and rethreading it is extremely easy to do, given that it is a big crown from Oris. Now, one of the things that really surprised me about this particular watch is the supplied strap that comes with it. They call it a textile. It has kind of like a nice nylon weave to it. And then you have a PVD coated clasp buckle here. And what it does is there's a lift tab here that opens it up, and you have a nicely milled out clasp in the center here. And then there's actually no perforations to this strap. What this clasp system does is that it crimps it, so you can pop this lever open here. You can slide it in or out to fit your wrist precisely, close it back up, and then close up the clasp. And it's nice and secure and very comfortable to wear. And I should mention the underside for this strap is actually calf leather, which is very supple, so the nylon's not going to aggress against your wrist. Again, very comfortable to wear with the calf lining and this kind of unique clasp system. Now if I move in on the case back, you can see that you do have a nice sapphire display case back here. You have that classic Oris signed red rotor. The case back itself is screwed in, assisting with that 100-meter water resistance rating. And something that's a subtle thing that they did, and I really enjoy, is that they have that same engine turning on the underside of a case back, just like they do on the top side of the bezel, which they didn't need to do because it's a very subtle feature, but it does show you some nice attention to detail from Oris. So here's a quick wrist shot of how the Big Crown ProPilot wears on my 19 centimeter circumference wrist, or about 7.5 inches, and you can see the down the barrel shot here, just how that case conforms to my wrist. And again, it's extremely comfortable to wear, very nice legibility with this watch, and again, I just think it makes it a great everyday wear because it also does have that big date cutout at the 3 o'clock position. Now as far as subtle improvements could go, and I'm going to be kind of nitpicking here, I do wish maybe they went with a flat sapphire crystal. While I do appreciate this slight doming here, and there is anti-reflective treatment on the underside, under certain lighting conditions you do get some harsh reflections. Although that being said, due to the high contrast of the white printing on the black dial, it's still easy to read the time pretty much in any lighting situation. And then the last thing I kind of wish they updated was the seconds hand as well. I mean, it does complete the stealth and tactical nature of this model to have like a blacked out seconds hand with a red tip, but it would be nice to kind of see a white tipped seconds hand that's also loomed, just to go with the complete Flieger style aesthetic of the watch. But other than that, guys, there's not a whole lot of change about this watch. I do think it's extremely comfortable to wear. It's quite scratch resistant and durable, and it's not an Oris model that you're typically going to see on most people's wrists. But guys, I'd love to hear your feedback in the comments below. Can you think of any other underrated Oris models you'd like to see on the channel? And if you do like this content, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. And as always, I'll catch you guys in the next one.